There's a silent epidemic spreading through our hyper-informed world. It's the disease of knowing. We've all got it. We listen to the podcasts, we read the books, we watch the videos. We can quote philosophers in our sleep. We understand the theories, the frameworks, the 7 habits, the 10 rules, the 12 principles. Our minds are libraries, overflowing with wisdom we've collected from others. We know what a good person looks like. We can describe them in detail. They're disciplined, they're honest, they're resilient, compassionate, and wise. We talk about these virtues, we debate them with friends, we journal about our intention to embody them. We spend hours, days, years arguing, discussing, and pondering the blueprint. But then the day ends. We close the book, we turn off the podcast, and we look at our own lives. And we see the gap, the vast, echoing canyon between the person we can so eloquently describe and the person we actually are in the quiet moments. The knowing hasn't translated into doing. The talking hasn't become being. And a heavy truth settles in. All the knowledge in the world means nothing if it doesn't change how you live when the mic is off and no one is watching. This isn't a new problem. 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor sitting in a cold tent on the battlefront wrote a note to himself. It wasn't for publication. It wasn't for applause. It was a command for his own soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." That line cuts through 2 millennia of noise and strikes at the heart of our modern struggle. It's a challenge, a directive, a cure for the paralysis of overthinking. It tells us that character isn't forged in conversation, it's forged in action. It's not a conclusion you arrive at, it's a standard you live by. So if you've ever felt stuck in the library of your own mind, knowing all the right things but feeling like nothing is changing, then this is for you. We're not here to add another book to your shelf. We're here to burn the library down and walk out into the light of real life, ready to act. And if this is the kind of thinking that challenges you, that makes something inside you feel seen, then there's one simple, free favor I'll ask. Just tap the subscribe button. It's how we keep this space for real transformation growing together. Now, let's get to the work. The mind, from an archive to a workshop. Most of us treat our minds like an archive, a place to store information. We collect quotes, facts, and ideas like rare artifacts, polishing them and putting them on display in conversation. We take pride in what we know, in the sharpness of our opinions, in our ability to deconstruct an argument. But an archive is a passive place. It preserves what is old. It doesn't create anything new. To be a good person, the mind must transform from an archive into a workshop. A workshop is active. It's messy. It's a place of creation, not just collection. It's where you take the raw materials of your thoughts, your biases, and your beliefs, and you start building something. Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." He didn't say the uninformed life. He said the unexamined life. The work isn't just about taking in new information from the outside world. It's about courageously examining the information that's already inside you. What does this look like in practice? It means you stop using philosophy as a tool to judge others and start using it as a mirror to see yourself. When you read about Stoic resilience, your first question isn't, "Who do I know that isn't resilient?" It's, "Where in my life am I brittle? Where do I crumble under pressure? Where do I complain when I should be acting?" Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Your workshop is the place you make the unconscious conscious. You pick up a thought that's been running your life, a belief like "I'm not good enough" or "I need to please everyone to be safe," and you put it on the workbench. You look at it. You ask, "Is this really true? Who taught me this? Does it serve the person I want to become?" Arguing about what a good man should be is easy. It happens outside of you. But this is the real fight. It's the quiet, internal discipline of catching your own lazy thinking, your own ego, your own justifications before they turn into careless words or actions. When you start doing this, you'll notice a shift. You'll care less about winning debates and more about achieving inner clarity. You'll be less interested in proving a point and more interested in finding peace. The goal is no longer to be the person with the smartest take in the room, but to be the person with the steadiest mind. This is the first and most fundamental arena of action. You stop seeing your mind as a stage for intellectual performance and start treating it as the sacred workshop where your character is built, one examined thought at a time. You turn the lens of wisdom inward, and in that quiet, honest space, the act of being begins. The mouth, from a sword to a seed. We live in an age of opinions. Everyone has one, and the world has given us a million platforms to broadcast them. We argue in comment sections, we debate at dinner tables, we correct, we criticize, we clarify. We use our words like swords, trying to cut down the ideas of others to prove the strength of our own. We believe that the person who argues best, who speaks most eloquently, who has the final word, wins. But what do they win? A fleeting sense of superiority, a few moments of attention. The truth is, a mouth used as a sword leaves a trail of wounded people and rarely builds anything of lasting value. To be a good person is to change the function of your mouth. It ceases to be a weapon of debate and becomes a tool of creation. Your words are not swords, they are seeds. You can plant seeds of doubt, insecurity, and division, or you can plant seeds of courage, clarity, and connection. The choice is yours with every sentence you speak. Plato taught that wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. This is the core of it. Most arguments are fueled by the need to say something, to fill the silence, to assert one's presence. But the person who is being good is not driven by that insecurity. They are comfortable with silence. They understand that the value of their words is diluted by overuse. They speak with intention, or they don't speak at all. What does this look like? It means that before you speak, you ask yourself a simple question. Will this build something? Will this sentence build trust? Will it build understanding? Will it build courage in the person I'm speaking to? Or will it just serve my ego? This practice changes your relationships entirely. Instead of listening for the flaw in someone's argument, you start listening for the flicker of their hope. Instead of correcting their story, you offer the kind of presence that allows them to tell it fully. You realize that sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing, just a nod of understanding, a moment of shared silence that communicates more respect than 1,000 well-argued words ever could. Epictetus reminded us that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. When you live by this, you stop seeing conversations as competitions. The goal is no longer to be right, but to connect. And here's the paradox. The less you use your words to argue, the more weight they carry when you do speak. When you are known as someone who is deliberate, who doesn't waste breath on petty debates or tearing others down, people lean in when you talk. They trust you. Your silence gives your words power. So let others waste their time in the arena of argument. Let them exhaust themselves trying to be right. You will be in a different arena altogether, the arena of connection. You will use your words not to prove a point, but to plant a seed. In your family, in your workplace, with strangers, that is the work. That is how you be one. The hands, from theory to tangible action. You can have the most enlightened mind and the kindest words, but if they never translate into what you do, they are nothing more than decoration. We love the idea of virtue. We love to talk about courage, discipline, and compassion. But our hands are what reveal the truth. Our hands are where our values become real. Aristotle's entire ethical framework was built on this idea. For him, virtue wasn't a feeling or an idea, it was a practice. He said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." You don't become a courageous person by thinking courageous thoughts. You become courageous by doing the thing that scares you again and again until it becomes part of you. This is where the argument ends and the being begins. Arguing about what a good man should be requires only a chair and an opinion. Being one requires you to get up and act, especially when it's inconvenient. What does this mean in your life? It means you stop talking about getting in shape and you go for the walk, do the push-ups, or lift the weight, even if it's just for 10 minutes. The action itself, however small, sends a message to your mind. I am a person who does what he says he will do. This isn't about sculpting a perfect body, it's about building a disciplined will. As the Stoics knew, a mind that can command the body to move when it's uncomfortable can also command itself to stay calm in a crisis. It means you stop talking about being a more present friend or partner and you put your phone away when you're with someone. Not in your pocket, not face down on the table. Away. You give them the full currency of your attention. That single, tangible act says more than 100 "I love yous" ever could. It means you stop complaining about a problem at work or in your community, and you become the person who proposes a solution. You write the email, you organize the meeting, you do the unglamorous work that everyone else is just talking about. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we avoid. For many of us, our shadow is the gap between our words and our actions. We project the image of who we want to be, but our inaction reveals the truth. Doing the work with your hands, the literal, physical, tangible work, is how you integrate that shadow. This is why the quote is so powerful. It doesn't say think like a good man, it says be one. Being is an active verb. It happens in the physical world. It's in the meal you cook for a sick friend, the trash you pick up on your street, the difficult project you finish without seeking applause. Each of these actions is a vote for the person you want to become. You don't need to announce them. You don't need to post about them. The work is its own reward because it is closing the gap. It is aligning who you are in your heart with who you are in the world. So look at your hands. What did they build today? What did they fix? Who did they help? The answer to that question is a more honest measure of your character than any argument you could ever win. The path from a straight line to the obstacle itself. We have a fantasy about what a good life looks like. We imagine a clear path, a steady ascent. We think that if we're doing things right, life should be smooth. We argue for this in our own minds. If I'm a good person, then good things should happen to me. My plans should work out. People should treat me fairly. And then life happens. The plan fails. The person betrays us. The obstacle appears. And in that moment, our argument with reality begins. We feel wronged, cheated, like life has violated the terms of our agreement. We spend our energy complaining about the obstacle, questioning why it's there, and wishing it would go away. But the Stoics taught a radical idea, one that shifts you from arguing to being. They taught that the obstacle isn't in the way of the path. The obstacle is the path. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is one of the most difficult but powerful shifts in mindset you can ever make. It means you stop wasting time arguing with what is. The unexpected bill, the difficult boss, the painful loss, these are not interruptions to your life. They are your life. They are the curriculum. They are the arena in which your character is forged. A good person isn't someone who has no problems. A good person is someone who uses their problems as fuel for virtue. Think of it this way: you can't practice patience when everything is going your way. You can only practice it when you're stuck in traffic or dealing with an incompetent system. You can't practice courage when there is no fear. You can only practice it when you're facing a genuine risk. You can't practice forgiveness when no one has wronged you. You can only practice it in the face of a real betrayal. Every obstacle is an invitation to be the person you claim you want to be. The temptation is to retreat into theory, to talk about how you would handle it, to complain about how unfair it is. But the call to action is to step into the fire and use it. When you lose your job, you don't just argue that the world is unjust. You use it as an opportunity to practice resilience, to build a new skill, to be resourceful. When a relationship ends, you don't just argue about who was right or wrong. You use the pain to practice self-reflection, to learn your own patterns, to be wiser. This is the ultimate rejection of victimhood. It's taking every piece of your life, especially the broken pieces, and deciding to build something with them. As Seneca said, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We waste it by arguing with our reality instead of engaging with it. So the next time you face an obstacle, your challenge is to resist the urge to ask, "Why is this happening to me?" And instead ask, "Who can I choose to be because this is happening? Can I be patient here? Can I be brave here? Can I be compassionate here?" The path to being a good person is not paved with ease. It is paved with the stones of the very obstacles you once tried to avoid. Waste no more time arguing about the map. The terrain itself is your teacher. Walk it. That is how you become.